There's a girl named Shiaoan who was born with a special constitution, and she cannot touch boys who are mouse-tiger type, but in her school, all the boys are tiger type. To save her life, she doesn't even hesitate to throw herself on the ground, but this falling gets noticed by the school's seeking. That boy confidently tries to come and talk to her, but Shiaoan dodges him like a ghost and gets away. Then he offers her a drink, but Shiaoan politely refuses, saying that her kidneys are weak. Then he takes her to eat fried chicken, but Shiaoan says that she loves animals. Hearing so many refusals, the people around get surprised and say, "Who is this guy?" When the boy is busy on a call, Shiaoan tries to sneak away quietly, but at the gate, she meets him again. Shiaoan tries to awkwardly get past him, but she bumps into a cycle. To escape from that boy again, she falls on the ground, and when he tries to help her up, she rolls away quickly and runs off from there. All these attempts to escape increase that boy's desire even more. Shiaoan returns home injured and hungry, and the one who caused all this casually says in one line, "Shi Yang Day." Hearing this, Shiaoan's heart breaks, and she wonders why she went through all this herself. A few days ago, Shiaoan was pushed by her drunk friend, and while trying to save herself, she accidentally swallowed a pearl. When she regained consciousness, she found herself lying on a comfortable sofa, and in front of her was a man saying, "Wo shi." Again and again, that man was saying, "Wo shi." And while looking for his phone, he was talking to a fox. But the fox proposed living together because Shiaoan had swallowed his pearl. When he seriously talks about living together, Shiaoan immediately takes out her phone and starts calling the police. Being helpless, the fox shows his true form, and when Shiaoan regains consciousness again, she gets scared and runs away from there. But the fox knows that after swallowing the pearl, Shiaoan will surely come back to him. Even after coming home, Xiaodan's heart is anxious, and at night she goes to her younger brother's room and tells him to protect her with his bow and arrow, but the brother says that the real danger is Shiaoan herself and kicks her out. The next day, she is going to school in a normal way by catching the bus, but when the bus driver applies the brakes, a man touches her, and the touch causes sharp pain in her body. She holds her stomach and sits down, and that man immediately understands and tells the driver, "Everyone move aside, madam needs to go to the bathroom." Everyone gives way, and Shiaoan gets off, embarrassed. She barely reaches school, but the pain does not reduce. Her friend Xiaopang teases her jokingly, but due to weakness, Shiaoan falls there and faints. Then she remembers the pearl she swallowed. On the other side, the fox also senses Xiaodan's condition and immediately returns home because he knows Xiaodan will definitely come to him. From afar, he sees Xiaodan in a sick state. The fox tells her that only by touching him her pain will reduce, but then he realizes that the pearl inside Xiaodan has turned blue. The fox, who has been alive for thousands of years, had a dream of becoming human one day, and the gods had told him that he would have to meet the person who could turn his pearl blue. Only then he could become human. And he had been waiting for that person for thousands of years. That day, the man, Fox, suddenly came in front of Xiaodan, and in this way, one to save her life and the other to get back his pearl to become human, both started living together out of compulsion. When Xiaodan reached the fox's house that day, she went shopping and bought an electric shock stick and pepper spray, but as soon as she came home, all those things fell from her hands. To save herself from embarrassment, Xiaodan lied that these were gifts for the fox. That night, Xiaodan saw the fox standing in the garden holding a big, scary scythe, and his face also looked a bit angry. Seeing this, Xiaodan got scared and quickly ran into the living room, but there, something red like blood was leaking from the fridge. While she was confused, the fox came behind her and with a completely expressionless face, started explaining that he was cutting tree branches with the scythe, and the red blood leaking from the fridge was actually the beef blood that she had brought home but had not eaten yet. Despite the fear, Xiaodan was lying on the bed, thinking that she would not be able to sleep that night, but she turned around and fell into such a deep sleep that she kept sleeping until morning. When she came out, seeing the fox's beauty, for a moment her heart trembled, but she immediately convinced herself not to get trapped in his beauty. Then, the fox told her that he would pay her school fees, and a line slipped out of Xiaodan's mouth. When she saw that the money had arrived in her bank account, she could not resist the power of money. At that moment, the fox said that he had to go to Singapore for a few days, and hearing this brought a smile to Xiaodan's face. While leaving, the fox changed his clothes and shapeshifted right in front of her, and although Xiaodan knew that the fox used powerful magic, seeing it so close increased her fear. That day after going to school, Xiaodan was returning home tired, but her friends called her to a party. At first, Xiaodan refused because her condition was not suitable for such a place, but after her friends insisted repeatedly, she could not refuse and wore a sexy dress and went to the nightclub. There was a crowd in the club, and on the dance floor, a thug placed his hand on her shoulder, and at that moment, Xiaodan felt pain spreading through her body. She knew that the thug was tiger type, but because of the pain, she could not react. Far away in Singapore, the fox immediately felt that something was wrong with the pearl and called Xiaodan, but the call was not answered. At this time, the thug was dragging Xiaodan into a dark alley. Xiaodan's hopes were breaking, but then the fox suddenly appeared in front of that thug and easily took Xiaodan away from him. Seeing the fox, Xiaodan immediately felt safe and fell toward him. The thug tried to react in anger, but the fox ignored him without tension and left. When Xiaodan regained consciousness, she thought the fox would scold her, but the fox first ordered a cake for her and then started telling her that the fox wonders why Xiaodan is so scared of him, and seeing her fear makes the fox feel a little regretful. The fox thinks that even though he is a nine-tailed fox, his pearl is now inside Xiaodan, so so no matter what, he will have to protect Shiaoan. Hearing this, Shiaodan's heart feels a strange peace, and she thinks that not all foxes are scary like legends. Some are kind like fairy tales too. But just as Shiaodan starts feeling happy, she remembers that she only has 1 year left to live, and to avoid regrets, she switches to revenge mode and starts eating lots of fried chicken and beer. While walking in a drunken state, a crab-hunting pearl falls from her mouth, and she sees that the pearl is glowing with a red light. Shiaodan feels that now her life is saved, and she excitedly takes that pearl to show the fox. The fox sees the pearl covered in dirt and gets a confused look on her face. She explains to Shiaodan that running around while drunk like this is dangerous, but Shiaodan's eyes fall on an antique vase, and she runs towards it. The fox immediately uses her magic to stop her, and after scolding her so much, sends her to the bathroom. Seeing vases flying everywhere, the fox thinks about what a scene has been created. The next morning, the fox sets 3 rules for Shiaodan and the pearl's safety, and one rule is that she will not eat chicken. Every rule feels strange to Shiaodan, especially because she loved fried chicken the most, but the fox is scared of chicken, and the pearl also gets affected by the condition of Shiaodan's body. So when Shiaodan protests, the fox refuses her. Out of fear, Shiaodan reluctantly agrees. While going to school, she starts taking a route through the trees to avoid tiger-type boys, but someone calls her from behind. She sees that it is the handsome boy from school, Shan Yu, who is a level 17 tiger type. Shan Yu comes to give her the cloth she dropped, but Shiaodan tells him with disgust to leave the cloth on the ground. Shiaodan carefully picks up the cloth herself, and Shan Yu finds it strange because it is the first time someone is trying to avoid him. In the evening at a party, Shan Yu meets Shiaodan again, and ever since Shiaodan fed him a biscuit that day, he had developed an interest in her. The more Shiaodan tries to avoid him, the more Shan Yu starts following her. The next day, Shan Yu, under the excuse of borrowing a coin, asks Shiaodan for her phone number, but Shiaodan immediately refuses. Then Shan Yu pretends she needs to check the time and takes Xiaodan's phone and dials her own number on it. Shan Yu is a high IQ girl from a rich family, and she already has 20 girls on her girlfriend list, so no one has ever rejected her before. But Xiaodan rejects her angrily and walks away, leaving Shan Yu standing there in shock. But Shan Yu does not give up and sends a message to Xiaodan at night with the excuse of returning the money. Xiaodan refuses to meet her and sends her bank account details instead. Shan Yu sees this moment as an opportunity and asks if Xiaodan needs any help with anything. Xiaodan, in her frustration, asks her how to fix the toilet because she needs to get it fixed before the fox returns. Shan Yu finds an online hack and gets the toilet fixed, and Xiaodan manages to escape the trouble. To thank her, Xiaodan invites her to dinner. At that moment, the fox comes home with pizza, and Xiaodan happily calls her to eat the pizza, but the fox says that she does not eat human food and that even at yesterday's party, there was the smell of fried chicken everywhere. Xiaodan not only could not eat fried chicken, but she also returned home in an injured state, but the fox could not understand her pain. When Xiaodan saw the cigarette on the table, she deliberately told the fox to quit smoking, and they both signed a new agreement on this. But the fox had been smoking for 400 years, so she could not control it in a single day. When the fox saw Xiaodan's mouth watering while watching fried chicken on TV, she felt bad and tried to make fried chicken from duck, but it was not tasty enough to eat, so she brought pizza from outside and fed Xiaodan. Seeing this care from the fox, Xiaodan's heart felt slightly moved. At night, Xiaodan saw the fox walking around in the garden and found out that the fox had seen a bad dream, so Xiaodan comforted her. Hearing Xiaodan's words, the fox became emotional and thought that now she would take out the pearl from Xiaodan and send her home. But as soon as the fox touched Xiaodan, the pearl inside Xiaodan turned blue. The fox, who was about to become human, in her excitement, hugged Xiaodan. The next day, Xiaodan told this to her friend, and her friend said that such a romantic hug is basically a love confession, but Xiaodan remained doubtful. As soon as she returned home, the fox said something in such a way that it made the 1,000-year-old nine-tailed fox feel that her charm had not worked. The fox called her old fox friend, Hui Shan, who had already become human, and hearing this, Hui Shan laughed and teased the fox, saying that the great nine-tailed fox had come to this state. Meanwhile, Xiaodan had promised Shan Yu that she would treat her to dinner, but seeing the restaurant menu, she got tense. Shan Yu understood and said that this time dinner would be on her, and Xiaodan did not refuse. But after that, Shan Yu started giving intense attention to Xiaodan. She started sending her drinks, asking her to be her study partner in class, and inviting her for dinner after school. Seeing all this, Xiaodan started getting worried and began to complain. Finally, Shan Yu meets Xiaodan and asks why she is not reading her messages or replying. And this scene is seen by the girls in the class, and everyone starts judging Xiaodan, saying that she is showing attitude. Xiaodan's friend also starts asking if there is something going on between her and Shan Yu. At that moment, Shan Yu sends a message to Xiaodan, inviting her to watch a movie over the weekend, and the friends think it's a party moment, but for Xiaodan, it becomes a reason for tension. All this made Xiaodan feel troubled, so she thought that the fox, who has been alive for 1,000 years, would be a love expert, and she started asking her how to behave so that Shan Yu would get bored of her and leave her alone. So the fox and Xiaodan planned a fake date so that Xiaodan could practice. The fox wore a stylish costume, and Xiaodan was impressed by her look. They both went to eat pig bone soup near the school, and seeing Xiaodan's overacting, the fox directly pointed it out. Then they both went to have coffee, and Xiaodan sipped the coffee in her usual habit, and the fox said a truthful thing that hurt Xiaodan. At that moment, Xiaodan realized that behaving naturally and living her normal life could actually be the most irritating thing. After this realization, Xiaodan picked up her bag and left from there in anger. And the fox gets a little confused when Xiaodan looks upset, and to make her happy, the fox uses archery to win many soft toys for her. Xiaodan happily takes the toys and gets so excited that her nose starts running. And seeing this, the fox's heart melts a little. While returning, they both pass by a shop, and there Shan Yu is having coffee with her friends. As soon as Shan Yu hears Xiaodan's voice, she ignores her friends and immediately comes behind her and makes a call. And in this way, the three of them come face to face. A tension is felt between the two, Fox and Shan Yu, but Xiaodan does not feel anything and remains normal. When Shan Yu tries to take things further, the fox directly says that they have some important work and tells Shan Yu to leave. While leaving, Shan Yu deliberately places her hand on Xiaodan's head, and after she leaves, Xiaodan feels sharp pain in her stomach. The fox immediately holds her and comforts her. The fox fears that if Xiaodan goes to watch a movie with Shan Yu, she might feel pain again, so the fox tells her to call immediately if needed. Remembering the fox's protective nature, Xiaodan blushes at night and hides in her blanket. On the day of the movie date, Xiaodan cancels the movie plan and instead changes the place to eat black bean noodles at the riverside. Seeing the scene, Shan Yu feels a little uncomfortable. Then, jokingly, Xiaodan brings up the day Shan Yu taught her how to fix the toilet and starts comparing the noodles to the toilet, saying that the noodles stick just like that toilet and don't even let air pass through. Hearing this, Shan Yu feels disgusted and puts the noodles down. And at that moment, Xiaodan deliberately starts eating the noodles aggressively while cracking boring and oily jokes. At night, it suddenly starts raining, and Shan Yu's money gets stolen by her brother, so they both have to take the bus to go home. While running in the rain, Xiaodan looks back and smiles once. And seeing her innocent smile, Shan Yu blushes and looks away. Xiaodan comes to drop her off at the bus, and when she sees that Shan Yu turns her face away without looking at her, Xiaodan happily thinks that today's plan was successful. But Xiaodan does not know that Shan Yu is hiding her emotions and is happy inside. Xiaodan, happily drenched in the rain, is going home, but at the bus stop, the fox is waiting for her with an umbrella because there was no contact, and the fox was afraid she would get wet. Returning home, Xiaodan proudly tells the fox that her plan worked and now Shan Yu will not like her anymore. But just then, while Xiaodan is taking out kimchi from the fridge, she gets a message from Shan Yu inviting her to watch a movie, and the fox sees all this. The next day, Xiaodan gets herself ready nicely, and the fox thinks that she is going to watch a movie with Shan Yu, so the fox feels jealousy. But actually, Xiaodan is not going to watch a movie but to watch her brother's match. At that moment, Shan Yu also reads Xiaodan's no message and gets confused about why this happened. Meanwhile, the fox gets her fox friend Shan admitted to the university so that she can protect Xiaodan. But in life, the one you try to avoid is the one you encounter the most, and in a group activity in class researching couples, Xiaodan and Shan Yu end up in the same group. Seeing this, all the students in the class start gossiping. Some students in the class start rating Xiaodan's appearance and talk weird things about her. Hearing all this, Xiaodan directly scolds them and shuts them up. Shan Yu gets scared that Xiaodan might misunderstand her, so she goes after her and starts explaining everything. But Xiaodan thinks, how can someone understand the pain until they get hurt themselves? Some girls in the class are also talking about Xiaodan's rating, and Shan hears all this. When she sees that Xiaodan is about to fall while crying, she immediately calls the fox. Xiaodan, suppressing her troubles, starts making the assignment with those students, but they come with fake sympathy to comfort her. When Xiaodan understands their reality, those students get angry and leave from there, and Xiaodan continues to complete the assignment alone till night. When she steps out to go home, she sees that the lights that were turned off have now turned on just for her, and at that moment, Xiaodan cries out all the pain and trouble of her entire day in front of the fox. The fox does not understand how to comfort her, so she simply takes her to KTV so she can fix her mood. There, Xiaodan sings an old song and eats an old red bean ice cream, and while laughing, she becomes happy. Xiaodan then shows the fox a photo from that day, and the fox realizes that Xiaodan had dressed up nicely that day only for her brother. When ice cream gets on Xiaodan's lips, the fox wipes it off her face, and this small action shakes Xiaodan's heart. The next day, Xiaodan falls sick and is lying in bed, and the fox feels bad for her. Xiaodan explains that she got her period. The fox cooks her favorite foods for her, and Xiaodan's eyes light up. She completely becomes part of the Clean Plate Club and feels happy with a full stomach. The next day, Xiaodan has to go on an assignment date with Shan Yu, and despite being unwell, she starts getting ready. Seeing this, the fox says that she will go on that date in Xiaodan's place and, using magic, transforms into Xiaodan's form and goes to meet Shan Yu. Shan Yu gets surprised seeing how calm and polite Xiaodan has suddenly become. They both go to eat potato chicken soup, and Shan Yu notices how elegantly Xiaodan is eating the bones, as if she is eating steak. Shan Yu is thinking something entirely different in her mind, but the fox understands everything. While going to watch a movie, Shan also arrives there and understands in one glance that this is not the real Xiaodan, and jokingly quietly says that Shan Yu and Xiaodan look like a perfect couple. The fox pulls her aside to the bathroom and says not to create a scene today, but Shan says she finds all of this interesting and warns the fox that if she doesn't take back the pearl and ends up falling in love, the pearl will one day take Xiaodan's life. After the date, while returning, Shan Yu asks Xiaodan about her type, and it turns out that Xiaodan likes kind people. On the other side, the fox returns home and falls asleep tired on the sofa, and Xiaodan covers her with a blanket and falls asleep there. The fox keeps looking at her while Shan's warning echoes in her ears, and this is why the fox starts creating distance from Xiaodan. Despite the fox trying to create distance, even slow, Xiaodan starts to feel it and remains sad but cannot understand the reason. At this time, Shan Yu calls her to write a report, and Xiaodan thinks that she will take advice from the fox on this occasion. Xiaodan accepts Shan Yu's invite, and Shan Yu books many cakes in advance for this meet. But in Xiaodan's mind, Xiaodan asks her friends about the details of that date day, but she does not learn much. While returning home, she meets the fox, who is sitting in front, and at that moment, Xiaodan's heart starts beating fast. Xiaodan cannot directly say anything to the fox and says, "Let's go home." The fox wonders why Xiaodan's face is turning red and suspects that maybe she has a fever. Xiaodan tells this to her friends, and all her friends say that Xiaodan has fallen in love with the fox. On this day, the fox, for the first time, asks Xiaodan to make a social media account for her so she can stay connected. Xiaodan gets so busy that she forgets herself, but Shan Yu tries to stop her, yet Xiaodan remains cold with her. But after meeting Xiaodan so many times, Shan Yu starts to understand her own feelings. Shan Yu finds out that the effort she made to impress Xiaodan was actually a 100,001 bet among friends. Her friends also get shocked hearing this truth, and while talking about the bet, Xiaodan's friend hears it. She gets angry and goes to Shan Yu to hit her, warning her that Xiaodan should not find out about this. But at that moment, Xiaodan is standing behind and hears everything. Seeing all this, Xiaodan quietly walks away, and Shan Yu goes after her to apologize. But at that moment, the only thing that comes out of her mouth is that she had placed a bet on Xiaodan. Xiaodan calmly says that from now on, she will never want any connection between them, and she walks away. Shan Yu can only watch her back in regret. Seeing Xiaodan sad, the fox takes her out for a walk and tries to feed her favorite foods, but Xiaodan refuses to eat anything. Then, the fox says, "Let's go have something to drink," but Xiaodan drinks too much, and her mood starts swinging. She sometimes cries and sometimes laughs, and seeing this, the fox smiles. The vibe of that moment, or the feelings of the heart, are not understood, and Xiaodan says a line to the fox and falls asleep on her shoulder. The next day, when Xiaodan wakes up, she remembers last night and gets scared. To avoid the fox, she tries to sneak out of the house quietly, but the fox uses teleportation to catch her at the door. Xiaodan tries to run away again, but the fox stops her again. The fox thinks that what Xiaodan confessed last night was about her liking egg cake, and hearing this, Xiaodan gets confused about whether to laugh or cry. That day, Xiaodan goes to dinner with her friends, but she does not even eat her favorite fatty intestine, and during the whole dinner, she just remains tired and sad. At night, the fox waits for Xiaodan, and when she does not come, the fox goes out to look for her. Seeing Xiaodan sitting in a corner, the fox covers her with her jacket and asks what happened. Xiaodan says that even though they signed a contract, she has realized that she cannot ignore everything so easily. Xiaodan waits for her answer, but the fox says something directly and seriously, and Xiaodan gets shocked that she was rejected for this reason. The next day, Xiaodan starts calling the fox by a new name, and the fox does not feel that she has done anything wrong. To make Xiaodan happy, her friends start setting up blind dates for her, and Xiaodan looks at the fox and asks if she can go on a date. The fox calmly says that there is no restriction on going on a date in their contract. Hearing this casual reply from the fox, Xiaodan feels bad and angrily agrees to go on the date. Xiaodan goes on a blind date at a BBQ restaurant, but the guy sitting in front of her, named Park, is overly self-obsessed, and Xiaodan goes on her blind date where the guy just keeps praising himself, and Xiaodan does not get a chance to speak. She sits quietly in a corner listening to him. On the other side, the fox wants to talk to Xiaodan after the blind date, writes a message but deletes it. But accidentally, a waiter bumps into her and the message gets sent. Xiaodan sees the word blind date in the chat and gets shocked, and she calls the fox. Hearing the fox's concern, Xiaodan lies that the date went really well. After ending the call, as soon as Xiaodan returns to the cafe, she sees that the fox is also sitting in the same cafe writing, and a strange senior fox is sitting beside her. As soon as Xiaodan sits, that senior starts giving her life advice and overacts by asking for a high five. When he understands Xiaodan's personal matters, seeing her mediocrity, he starts disliking her and ends the date, saying that they do not need to meet again, and tells her to transfer the bill for today's tea and coffee before leaving. Seeing Xiaodan being treated like this, the fox gets angry and uses her magic to make the senior fall down. Seeing the senior fall, everyone starts laughing. On the way back home, the fox realizes that she needs to clarify things with Xiaodan, so she explains that the reason she once called her niece was not because she ever considered anyone as family, but because she wanted to show her specialty. On that date, the fox had heard that Xiaodan's dream was to become a museum curator, so the fox immediately holds her hand and teleports her to a closed museum. Xiaodan gets excited excited seeing the old things there, and the fox remembers the day when Shiaoan had come to her basement and was happily talking about old things. The fox tells her that the senior she met at the museum, who calls himself a life mentor, is not as experienced as she herself is. At that moment, a guard comes patrolling with a torch, and the fox lifts Shiaoan and takes her to a small spot to hide. There is such close physical proximity between them that both of their hearts start beating fast. That day, the news reports that crimes in the city are increasing, and the way the victims are killed does not look like the work of humans. Shan warns the fox that these attacks do not seem to be by a human. That day, the fox comes to pick up Shiaoan on time at the college gate and even brings a blanket for her. At that moment, Shan arrives and sits in the passenger seat of the car, and seeing Shiaoan coming, gives a victory smile. Seeing the fox get irritated, Shan starts putting on makeup, and as soon as Shiaoan reaches the car, the fox uses her magic to remove Shan from there. Shan did not expect this and gets surprised. On the way, the fox tells Shiaoan that brutal crimes are happening in the city and that even one of her colleagues was attacked by an unknown monster. During the investigation, the fox finds out that the 3 women who died were all from her close circle. For Shiaoan's safety, the fox starts picking her up and dropping her off. One day, Shiaoan needs to research 100-year-old history and asks the fox for a book, and when she opens the book, then one day, Shiaoan sees a painting of a woman and learns that she was the fox's first love. Shiaoan immediately falls into jealousy. The next day, when the fox and Shiaoan are passing by a flower shop, that woman who looks like the fox's first love is standing there. The fox tells Shiaoan to walk ahead, and Shiaoan thinks that the fox is going back to her old love, so she sadly returns home alone. Actually, the flower shop owner is an evil spirit, and her real intention is to get the fox's pearl, pig bead. Hearing this, the fox realizes that Shiaoan is in danger and rushes back home. Seeing Shiaoan safe brings relief to the fox, and in just a few words, Xiaodan's past worries vanish. During exam week, Shiaoan is studying in the library when the fox suddenly appears behind her. Shiaoan thinks the fox has come to pick her up and feels happy, but she does not know that in the fox's eyes, greed and danger are hidden. After handling the evil spirit, the fox returns to Shiaoan and sees how simple and sweet she is. The fox realizes that the pearl inside Shiaoan will put her in danger, so the fox thinks she will have to take the pearl back. The fox plans to take Shiaoan on a trip, and they both leave for sightseeing by bus. On this trip, they take many pictures, and the fox even makes a wish like Shiaoan. At night, under the neon lights, the fox confesses her feelings, sharing how she had been alone for so long and how Shiaoan made her feel warmth. The fox says that she could have taken the pearl back, but out of greed, kept Shiaoan close. Now she will set Shiaoan free. The fox takes the pearl back, and Shiaoan forgets everything. Shiaoan returns home, and everything becomes normal. At night, fried chicken and beer come back into her life, but when a waiter comes close, Shiaoan instinctively moves away. At that moment, she realizes that the fox's magic has failed and that her memories are still with her, but she pretends like nothing happened and tells herself that maybe she was just a consumable for the fox. Then the weather changes, and as Shiaoan runs to escape the rain, an umbrella opens over her and the fox is standing there. Shiaoan becomes emotional but quickly remembers that when the fox herself ended everything, why is she caring again now? Shiaoan refuses to accept her help. Then it turns out that their new professor is actually the fox. Shiaoan tries to avoid the fox, but one day she gets stuck in the elevator, and both the fox and Shan Yu try to help her. Shiaoan pushes the fox's hand away and moves away from her while thanking Shan Yu. Shiaoan remains angry at the fox because she ended everything without telling her, and in that anger, she accepts Shan Yu's dinner invitation in front of the fox. The fox quietly keeps watching. During dinner, Shan Yu confesses her feelings to Shiaoan and says there is no need to give an answer quickly. Shiaoan feels Shan Yu's sincerity, but cannot get her heart off the fox. That night, Shiaoan runs to find Shan Yu and later goes out drinking with her friends. She and her friend share their broken love stories with each other. While Shiaoan is dropping off her drunk friend home, she bumps into the fox and Shan. The fox, worried about Shiaoan, offers to drop her home, but Shiaoan politely refuses. Still, the fox quietly follows behind her to protect her. As Shiaoan is putting her friend in a taxi, a pair of familiar hands hold her waist. Shiaoan and the fox lock eyes, but both remain silent. The fox pretends to be a stranger and moves away, and Shiaoan also acts and leaves. The next day, in her professor identity, the fox scolds Xiaodan's friend, telling her not to keep getting drunk and putting others in trouble. Shan, standing nearby, understands the fox's jealousy and quietly smiles. The school students go on a history trip, and it is the same place where Shiaoan and the fox had gone before. Shiaoan keeps looking at the stone pile there, and the fox, watching from a distance, realizes that Shiaoan still has her memories. After dinner, Shiaoan goes alone to the place where she had said goodbye to the fox, and the fox comes from behind and asks if she hasn't forgotten the memories. Hearing this, Shiaoan starts crying and says how hard she was trying to forget, but the fox keeps appearing in front of her and shakes her heart. Seeing this truth and Xiaodan's courage, the fox can no longer hide her feelings and hugs her. They both understand each other's feelings for one another. While returning, Shiaoan asks the fox about her relationship with Shan, and the fox tells her that Shan is her 700-year-old friend who became human 4 years ago. That night, they say goodbye, and Shiaoan sends the fox a good night text. The next day, for their date, the fox brings a flower for Shiaoan and takes her to the sauna, then takes her out for fried chicken. Shiaoan doesn't understand the fox's planning, and the fox explains that she learned about the sauna from a drama and that the fried chicken is a reward for her. Seeing Shiaoan happily eating the tasty chicken, the fox also feels like eating it. The next day, Shiaoan comes to meet the fox at her office, and as soon as the fox sees her, she cannot control herself and kisses her. The fox's eyes turn red, and she starts kissing more intensely, and Shiaoan, scared, pushes her away. The fox realizes that her feelings might hurt Shiaoan, so she decides that their relationship will remain platonic from now on. But by now, Shiaoan has completely fallen in love and wants the fox's closeness. They both go on a game center date where the fox is busy playing games and Shiaoan watches the couples nearby, feeling jealous seeing their closeness. At the end of the date, as Shiaoan is about to fall, the fox pulls her back by her collar. Shiaoan gets confused by this strange move. At home, the fox watches TV and realizes that pulling someone by their collar is considered rude and usually happens in violence. On the other hand, Xiaodan's brother teases her, calling her conservative. At night, Shiaoan thinks that she gave the wrong message by pushing the fox away, and now the fox thinks she doesn't want closeness. Shiaoan is about to write a long text to explain everything to the fox, but as soon as Shiaoan arrives at the office, she sees the fox collapsed on a weak chair. When Shiaoan calls her, a predatory hunger flashes in the fox's eyes as she looks at Shiaoan, trying hard to control this instinct. But Shiaoan does not realize this at all. Just then, Shan arrives on time and takes Shiaoan away from there. Shan explains to Shiaoan that this is the fate of a nine-tailed fox, that they need diluted human essence to stay alive, and that when they are in front of the one they love, they lose control over themselves. Shiaoan had been getting weaker from the fox's contact, so they both decide to keep a temporary distance until the fox can find a solution. One day, the fox sees an unknown face and follows it up to the rooftop, where it turns out to be a mountain god. The mountain god tells the fox that humans and foxes cannot live together, and to break this relationship, she ties Xiaodan's red thread to Shan Yu's hand, forcibly connecting their destinies. The mountain god, disguised as a fortune teller, tells Shiaoan that her perfect match is Shan Yu, and that her current boyfriend will not be able to stay happy. That night, at a dinner, Shan Yu drinks too much, and as she sits down, the red thread pulls Shiaoan towards her, and Shan Yu falls onto Xiaodan's shoulder. The fox sees this scene from afar and notices that even while getting into the car, Shan Yu is still holding Xiaodan's hand, which angers the fox, and she steps forward to separate Shan Yu from her. The next day, the fox cleans her home while waiting for Shiaoan. As soon as Shiaoan reaches the gate, her red thread feels something, and she immediately gets a call from her brother, learning that Xiaodan's brother and Shan Yu's sister have ended up at the police station due to an incident. When they both arrive there, the misunderstanding is cleared and the two families settle the matter. But the red thread keeps creating incidents that bring Shiaoan and Shan Yu closer, and wherever Shiaoan does a part-time job, it ends up being connected to Shan Yu. Because Shan Yu's pocket money is cut off, she also starts working at that shop, increasing their interactions. In the evening, Shiaoan goes to the fox's house and confesses that she and Shan Yu are working together. The fox truthfully tells her that this is happening because of the red thread, but says that if they both stay strong, the red thread will not be able to break their love. Once the fox sees that the red thread makes Shiaoan and Shan Yu sit together, and the fox becomes jealous. The fox freezes time, turns Shan Yu's head in the opposite direction, and stands next to Shiaoan. When they are going on a mountain trip, the red thread repeatedly brings Shan Yu close to Shiaoan. After being pushed repeatedly, Shan Yu feels sad, and after drinking, holds Xiaodan's hand and confesses her feelings again. Xiaodan coldly rejects her, but seeing Shan Yu's genuine feelings, her heart wavers for a moment. To clear her confusion, Xiaodan decides to cut off her connection with Shan Yu and quits her convenience store job. When she does this, she sees the red thread on her hand and tries to cut it without thinking. But the mountain god appears there. The mountain god tells Xiaodan that he was doing all this to help the fox, and says, to turn the pig bead blue, it does not just need human essence, but human nature. And the truth of the fox's past begins to come out. Previously, when the fox met someone who turned her pearl blue, the fox had closed the window to her heart and lost the chance to become human. But ever since she met Xiaodan, her hope of becoming human had awakened again. Xiaodan, taking her belongings, goes to the fox's house, and this time she wants to help the fox become human. For this, she tries to understand the difference between herself and Shan, but the fox scolds Shan, calling everything she says foolish. Watching them both argue, Xiaodan thinks there is no special difference between the two. When they are returning, a cute moment between them gets captured by a classmate, and Xiaodan proudly accepts their relationship in front of everyone. That night, their love deepens, and the fox's pearl turns an even deeper blue. The next day, while going to school, Xiaodan forgets her homework, and the fox tries to teleport her home, but by mistake, they both end up in Shan's car. Shan tells the fox that losing control of magic is a sign that the fox is about to become human. Both the fox and Xiaodan start looking forward to that day, and the fox becomes so happy that she doesn't even complain when overtaken on the road. One day at school, the fox saves a girl from falling and does not lose any energy, which makes the fox happy, and she shares this happiness with Xiaodan. But when the fox looks in the mirror, mirror, her reflection starts to blur, and her face begins to fade from photos. The fox realizes that her life is about to end. To avoid worrying Xiaodan, the fox drops her home. Xiaodan's brother asks the fox if she is going somewhere, and even Xiaodan understands something while looking at their photo. Without thinking, she rushes to the fox's house, where the fox is writing her a goodbye letter. Xiaodan calls her, but while crossing the road, a truck comes towards her. At the last moment, the fox saves Xiaodan and disappears. After the fox leaves, Xiaodan becomes sad, but one day she finds photos of her time with the fox on her phone and feels that the fox is still somewhere nearby. Xiaodan immediately goes back to the fox's house. In reality, the fox could only become human when she possessed emotions of humanity, sacrifice, and love, and she had now gained those within herself. When the fox returns, she has human senses, and their life becomes filled with happiness and excitement. In the end, the destiny's red thread ties around both their hands, and the fox and Xiaodan start a new chapter of human life and love together. And with this beautiful story comes to an end.